it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and we are focusing in really in depth in how not to absorb the negative projections of a narcissist bully, a criticize extraordinaire, someone whose personality is filled with defense mechanisms and will tend to project a lot of negativity and criticisms your way in order to feel better about themselves. Now, it's a common misperception that the narcissist has an inflated ego. Their ego is their amigo. Their ego is bigger than life. They have a very strong sense of confidence, charm, very smooth talkers, are prone to the pathological line, making up stories, grandiosity. And a lot of people, really tend to feel that these people have very big egos, and that's part of the problem. Well, actually, the problem with a narcissist is they have a real ego deficit, but they're very self-absorbed, meaning their personality is laden with defense mechanisms, namely that of putting down and criticizing others. And they will tend to target, scapegoat, and really kind of scope in on people who they will oftentimes relentlessly criticize, judge, condemn, and put down in order to lift themselves up or alleviate their discomfort, to alleviate their disease, to alleviate their fear, their anxiety that they're not good enough, they're not adequate, they feel inferior, they feel humiliated about something about themselves, their place in their life, their place within these people who they might be gathered with, their family, their culture. And so they will lambast others, meaning just like a fire hose them with criticism, judgment, and defense mechanisms. And the defense mechanisms largely are that of denying your reality, denying your perceptions, denying your feelings, denying your voice, pushing it out, screaming over it, talking over it, basically annihilating it out of existence so that all that they hear is their voice. All they hear is their side. All they acknowledge is their side of the story. It's the ultimate narrow-mindedness. It's the ultimate closed-mindedness. It's like being a hammer and seeing everything as a nail. There's a lot of things in life that are not nails, but to a hammer, everything is going to look like a nail. And so, when a narcissist is provoked or they're in intimate relationships where their true colors come out, you see this lambasting of criticism, of judgment, of guilt, of the guilt trips, of the you're not good enough, the sarcasm. I call it the kind of the sardonic sarcasm. It's very very kind of hurtful humor, if you will, and they tend to make others the butt of the joke. Everyone else has some flaw about them that is funny. Everyone has some aspect about them which needs to be blown out of proportion, and they just want to fling and hurl a lot of criticism, guilt, and really sort of annihilate people's voice, perspective, and really sort of shut down their experience to serve their needs to deflect hurt onto others. So a lot of people don't even stand a chance to be around these people or have honest and open communication, which is the exchange of feelings, emotions, ideas, and experiences, and have them validated. And it's more than just, well, maybe we have a personality conflict, or maybe, we have something like that going on. It's a very, very sort of fire hosing of criticism. And it's not just, well, I want to control the situation. They really become very short-sighted and chiefly rely on these criticisms as a method and a way to really kind of get an experience with others. So it really presents with a lot of interpersonal relationships. So my message to you here is to encourage you not to be a carrier for this sort of criticism. Do not be a receptacle of their guilt. Do not have a catching catching mitt for all the insults, the sardonic humor that they're trying to hurl. Because if you're in their environment, or if you're in an event, or if you're in a workplace with these types of people, they're going to try to, shovel it onto you and heap it onto you. And, in the beginning in people's life, they're young and defenseless and impressionable, and they don't know how to interpret and, rationalize people's statements and assess whether they're right or wrong. And so they don't have that mechanism. So oftentimes, if you've been surrounded by narcissist parenting, then you're going to maybe have already been a carrier, a receptacle, a recipient of a lot of this negative criticism, judgment, and anxiety. And if you are, then this is going to play pretty strong on your FM, receiver, basically your programming, your mindset. You're going to have that running throughout your mind, throughout your emotional body, and this is going to be kind of undergirding, kind of like an undertow to a lot of your experiences. It's going to infiltrate many areas of your life. It's going to present or rear its head. It's going to be felt. It's not always going to be consciously acknowledged, but you're going to feel this sort of, judgment just kind of lurking as an, ambience within your experiences and within your relationships. And this can be instilled from, this toxic narcissistic criticism, and, heaping on of guilt, and you're not good enough, and, just sort of kind of trying to make a one-directional fire hose influence of your life that way. And it can become very uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially when they try to grow out of it or learn beyond it, and learn that oftentimes that these defense mechanisms of constantly criticizing others, making the others bunch of jokes, laying on the guilt trip, laying on the criticism, the glare, the narcissistic glare, always finding fault with everything. You can't hang a Christmas tree ornament the right way. You can't shovel the right way. You can't make coffee the right way. The way you cut carrots is wrong. The potatoes, there's going to be always something, and it's just, oftentimes there's no end. Or when you are, criticized, it's kind of like, when you are supported, you feel like, someone is they're taking from you in the same breath. So it can be very, very uncomfortable. So don't become a carrier for this. Realize that you can put your foot down and say, no, I'm not receiving that negativity. I'm not housing that criticism. I'm not letting that judgment live here. This is not in my best interest. These sort of thoughts or cognitions or moods, are not right for me. I don't feel this way. I don't have this disbelief in myself. It is not proper for me to have this lack of trust in myself. This is not going to help me function in the world. In fact, it's going to be very crippling, and I'm not going to be able to really kind of go on through life and actually be able to have relationships with this undertow of criticism in my life. And I'm not going to be able to process this simultaneously. I need to, I'm not taking it. I'm not a carrier. I'm not receptive to your guilt. I'm not receptive to your blame. I'm not receptive to your criticism. I'm not receptive to your judgment. It's just, it's oftentimes a narcissistic feud that takes place with hurling of these injuries. So don't be a carrier. Don't be a recipient. Don't be a sponge. Don't be impressionable to this narcissistic criticism that is designed as a defense mechanism to make the narcissist feel better, look better, create kind of a power dynamic in relationships so that they can overcompensate for their insecurity, their feeling of inferiority, their feeling of lack of really ego in the situation. It's not necessary, and oftentimes it is important for you to draw that line and have those energetic boundaries in order to protect yourself and to really run on your own internal voice and guidance system, your own values. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.